Thank you guys for coming back to Cobra TV, and today we're going to be focusing on indie TV, and we're going to be talking about Identity, the game, and we have got a jam-packed show here for you. Information dump, a Q&A over on the Identity Reddit. An official Q&A with the developers answered a ton of questions, and when you have a game that is ambitious, like No Man's Sky was a very ambitious game, and when you have a game that is ambitious as that, you come out with a racing game and people don't ask odd, weird questions like, I don't know, can you get out of your car? No one ever thinks that when you see like a racing game. Or I'm sure people do, but it's not the norm. So when you have a game that offers so much, and Identity offers so much, so many different options and things that you could do in the game, it's almost like there's no boundaries. Can you do this? Can you do that? And that's what makes some of these things exciting. Do I know if Identity is going to be a good game? I do not. I do not know if it's going to be a good game. What I do like from Identity and from developers such as Hello Games and Star Citizen and Crane Ball's Planet Nomads, what I like and what draws me to those developers and those games is that they're overreaching. They're attempting to overreach and do things that aren't typically common in games, and I respect that. And they may not reach, they may be overreaching, they may not reach, but it's exciting that somebody's trying. It's exciting that somebody is trying, and one day somebody will get there. Somebody will reach. But even if they don't get to what they want, if they're overreaching, then it's probably going to be a very good game. And Identity is shaping up to be a very good game. We got a new gameplay trailer, and it showed them inside an apartment and how customizable the apartment was and some other features. But this Q&A actually gives tons of information. So I've only read just the top half of this. So all of this is going to be new to, most of this is going to be new to me as I'm reading it. But from what I've seen, there's some good information in here. Okay, and I'm going to put a link to this down below, so you can see who asked what, the users. I'd be here all day long if I tried to pronounce some of these. You guys know me and names. Oh my goodness. So we're going to go ahead and just jump right into their questions and get the answers. VR gaming is a thing now. Will you support VR headsets? His second question, resource gathering. Since there will be player-driven economy with players making everything, how are all these items made? With resources that must be harvested, or do these base items just get acquired and customized by the crafter? And then he goes into economy. What will you do about hackers, botters, or people that exploit the system? And then his final section here, PvP. Most PvP online games can easily fall into butthole simulator territory, resulting in toxic communities. What will be done to assess this, if anything? So Asylum responds by saying, we have been playing around with VR in Identity. We have a Vive in the office, but given the detail of Identity's graphics, we may not be able to allow VR use in all places. VR requires very high frame rates, so we may have VR available in certain places like inside the cinemas, concert halls, bars, and so on. It requires more investigation and testing. He goes on to say many resources will be harvested, but some are available by other means. For example, if you want to try your hand at meth production, you'll need methylamine. To get your hands on a barrel, you're going to have to take it from a warehouse. You'll likely end up encountering the police too. And don't forget, the police are actually online players. As for toxic communities, do a search here for stress system. They talk about that a little bit down, where it went into basic detail on a mechanic to help in that area. That said, communities will have control over their own servers, where they can also police things for themselves. And here's some interesting questions. How long is the day and night cycle, and how long is one season? The second question he has is, will there be a loading screen while playing, like when you're entering a cinema or library? And his third and final question is, natural disaster sounds fun. Any plan about it? So to his first question, Asylum says, the day and night cycle in Identity is much faster than real time. At the moment, it's set to 3 hours daylight and 1 hour nights. There isn't any seasons in Identity, but we do plan to celebrate holidays with appropriate decorations scattered around the world. And then to his second question, most of the world and transitions between exteriors and interiors in Identity are seamless, but some buildings do have loading screens for performance reasons. The cinema is one such example. The movie screen is performance heavy, for instance, so we don't want players walking past a building to have to load and render that data if they don't plan on watching it, or for that matter, we don't want people in the theater to have worse performance because they're loading data from people walking and driving past the buildings outside. And to his third question, we definitely want to include natural disasters in some way, but we aren't yet certain how we want to go about it. We've had a lot of fun and laughs discussing how we can mess with the game's population using hurricanes and tornadoes and floods, but some things just seem like they could get a little bit too out of hand. So we don't want to commit or make any promises until we're more sure about this idea down the road. Sounds really cool. The next question here says, hi devs, I was wondering how payment is going to work in the game. A few weeks ago, you guys said you didn't know. I wanted to know if you would get a check, you would have to deposit at the bank, which could be stolen, or if it would be sent straight to the bank, or if you would just get money itself. If it was a physical check or money on your person, it could cause issues for newbies who are still getting the swing of things. All right, and then the devs answer back by saying payment from careers and jobs will often go into your bank account directly. If you meet with someone in person and exchange money for goods, you're going to have it on hand. It's a bit more risky as you could be robbed. There are many cases where it'll go on hand though. For example, if you're selling drugs to a drug dealer walking the streets, you're not going to give them a direct deposit and accept your debit card or anything like that. In most cases of illegal money, you'll have to have it on hand. If you're very much wanted, you might even find that you can't even access your bank account without informing the police of your whereabouts, so you'll find alternative banking for the notorious. Sounds interesting. It really does. The next question up here says, can you physically build up your character to look more fit, stronger using sliders or other mechanics? Will there be an option in the character customization that will allow you to change the visual aspects of your guy or girl? Will you be adding character models that are taller and shorter? I'm a tall guy, and it would be cool if there was a certain height mechanic. If this is possible, what types of other player model customizations may be implemented? The devs answer back by saying player characters in Identity will have the same muscle fat physique at least by the time the game launches. We really want to add body weight and visible muscle growth, but we ran into a problem with the way our clothing is created in Identity. We may have been able to do morph targets, but as it is now, it would mean having to create multiple 3D models for each and every piece of clothing in Identity, which really means the time it would take to create 3 different pieces of clothing would be spent making the same piece of clothing 3 different times to fit each body type. With a bigger budget, we would definitely want to add this level of detail to the game, so it might have to wait until after launch when funding makes that available to us. You will, however, be able to customize the entire array of facial features for your character, including tattoos, jewelry, and piercings. And then the next question is, this might be a dumb question, but are there any plans to add sports to the game to play? And can I be a taxi driver? The devs responded back by saying yes to both questions. And we go on down here. It says, hello developers, will there be climate changes depending on the season? Snow in the winter that affects driving, walking, etc. I'm really stoked on this game, and it seems like you are as well. Lots of love from Norway, where we drown in the snow. Okay. The developers responded back by saying, hello, there won't be any climate or season changes in Identity, but we do have to celebrate holidays with their respective decorations. Things like an Easter egg hunt on Easter, fireworks for the 4th of July for the US, and Christmas lights peppering the trees and buildings and things like that. But now we do know that in Identity there are biome changes. There's I think there's snow in Identity, so they said that their map, is going to have biomes that really wouldn't fit together properly, just because it's, they want to have an area that has snow, and they want to like a little desert area and jungle, you know what I mean? So they're going to blend it together pretty nicely. But I think that there's definitely going to be changes in the weather and climates and different biomes and things like that. Next question down here says, in the identity overview video, you talked about a talent tree. What can we expect to see in the talent tree? Asylum responds back by saying, it's been a long time now since the Kickstarter overview trailer, and this idea has undergone a few changes since we first mentioned it. But the important thing to note about talents is that we don't want to include any earnable skill or talent that will give a player PvP advantage over new players who just entered the game. Everyone should be on the same level playing field, no matter how long that they've spent in Identity. There has to be a sense of progression, and what you do earns need to feel worthwhile. They got me sold right there. Did you hear that? They got me sold. All right, everyone stays on a level playing field, no matter how much you progress in the game. That's amazing. See, a lot of people, never mind, I'm not going to talk about that, but that's amazing. Really amazing. Okay, sorry. We're going to go back to reading these questions. How many people are actually making the game right now? I know it's small, but amazing how much progress you've made. Let's see. He responds back by saying, we have 3 full-time salary employees as well as, 9 freelancers, some of which also work dedicated to Identity. We outsource most of the art to our freelancers, which then goes through art direction to keep everything properly styled. All right, so 3 full-time actual staff members at Asylum and 9 freelancers. That's pretty unreal. The next question is, got 2 questions for you guys. Will users be able to reach 60 frames per second easily in the game, unlike some other open world multiplayer games? And he's cough, Arma cough. Also, when can we expect more videos from you guys showcasing the game? Keep up the awesome work. Identity responds by saying, we hope you'll be able to reach 60 frames per second in Identity, but our response may be a bit biased. Our next video should show off actual gunplay in Identity, so we think it will really satisfy those who are interested in the more darker side of Identity. I wonder when we're going to get to see that. That'd be amazing. Now, the next question down the road here says, what makes you so confident in Identity? The game seems like a huge task with a fairly small dev team and limited funding. Whoa! All right, let's see how they respond to that. Asylum says, our current funding was never expected to support the full game development. We'll bring in external funding as and if needed. Deals have been in the works to support this if necessary for quite some time now. All right, well, good answer. Next question is, will there be a proper in-game proximity voice, as in the louder I talk, the further my voice travels in the game? They respond by saying yes, and your voice will be obstructed by objects too. So we've had this working in the game for about a year now, where we can control how much an object dampens sound based on its material and thickness. So you'll be behind a door and someone's talking, it'll be quiet and muffled, but if that door is open, it'll be nice and audible. There's also microphones and loudspeakers to really get your voice out there. So that's amazing. That is amazing. And then there's 2 more questions. Is the Town Square module still on track for a Q1 2017 release? And the second question was, will jail prison time only be counted if the player is logged in, or can they get 1 hour of jail time, log out for that hour, and be back to be free again? Then Asylum answers by saying the Town Square is still on track for Q1, but it's tight. We have a lot of work to do, and everything's still as we scheduled it. To the second question, jail time will be counted when logged in. If you log out with 10 minutes on your sentence, it will be there waiting for you when you return. Then the next question we have here is, I noticed in the Identity Insider housing video that you can see outside of your window. Will the scenery change depending on your apartment and its position? Also, can you see inside apartments' houses from the outside? They respond back by saying the exterior scenery does change based on location. You will, however, not see activity outside, such as the players. This is because in order to maximize the network activity and get as many players on as possible, when you enter your house or apartment, you're going into another instance. We have some tricks to make this feel pretty seamless though. This is the only way it can be done when you consider how much is going on inside a single apartment. You've got people running around, using storage, watching TV, and even just a placement of furniture and wall customizations, things like that. And then, good day, devs. I just want to ask if there will be a system in place for players to start up a small business and then build them up to the point where that they can have multiple stores across the island and have something like Walmart or another major store running as massive businesses, massive business empire. Wow. Here I am thinking, wow. The answer. Short answer, yes. Players can lease storefronts around the world. They can be themed based on what it is that you're selling, and then you could fill up the stock yourself. For example, if you find people love your clothing designs, you could sell them individually to start, but that's a lot of work. Opening up a store gets you more exposure as people drive by, and now people can just walk in and check out your clothing store as though it was any other NPC store. We expect prime locations near city centers to become very valuable, but there's also an internet site that will help you find products anywhere. Oh boy, that is amazing. These developers are really reaching. Wow. I'm blown away. Let's continue. How long do you guys plan to support the game for? Also, how long is a in-game day compared to real life time? Identity is an ongoing project and we'll be developing it long after release. If it's bringing in enough money to pay our developers, then development will continue. We have no plans to stop supporting Identity in any way. The day cycle is something that will likely change before you get the game, but right now it's about 3 hours of day and 1 hour for night. The next question is, this is the exact same answer Sean Murray gave someone that asked the same question. Red flags everywhere. Well, let me tell you something. All right. Sean Murray is continuing to work on the game. They came out with they fixed all the bugs. With the launch, they came out with the foundation update, added a lot of stuff. A lot of people have gotten bored with that already, and that's a given. That's normal. People get bored with games. There's never been a lifer game. They just hired a bunch more content creators, and they hired a full-time story writer. So there's something that's getting ready to come out. They're working on something. They just updated the testing branch. These games like Identity and like No Man's Sky, I mean, they're here for the long run. So Hello Games is proving that they're not going anywhere. And I think the same could possibly happen with Identity as well. They're going to work on this game long after, and the game's going to continuously improve update after update. And I think it's games like these, man. I mean, games like Minecraft, it came out, it was boring, it was bland, but it was still kind of fun. And you look at it today, it's been updated more and more and more, and it's still around today, man. It's still, the company got sold for $2.5 billion to Microsoft. And these games that come out and they're not like franchises, you play it to, a lot of work's been put into it, it's done, it's over. Now you have to wait for part 2. No, these games are career, I guess you can call them career games that come out. They're ambitious, they're overreaching, but the developers, they're not ready to give up on them yet. And I think Identity is going to be the same thing. I mean, we're going to see update after update, things like that. Jeez. Oh, wait. Asylum. Okay. Let's go ahead and read the response for Asylum to that statement there. The No Man's Sky comparison has always been baffling to us because Identity is such a different game. You simply can't have the same experience between them, as they don't propose the same content. We don't have procedural worlds, and everything Identity is handcrafted. None of it is generated. But most of all, their pricing wasn't realistic for an indie game. Imagine that No Man's Sky could have been what No Man's Sky could have been if they just offered a little more. We aren't pretending to be AAA studio. We're offering an indie experience by indie developers. Regardless, we aren't going to please everyone, but at the very least, we hope we can expand the roleplay genre and introduce a new type of experience to the gaming community, and we hope we'll surprise you too while we're at it. So good response. Yeah, perfect response. Weird question or weird statement. Okay, so let's move on. Next questions we have here is, how in-depth will weapon customization be? For example, will you be able to exchange stocks, barrels, internals, etc.? If so, what system will be in place for this? Can you physically take apart the weapon? How in-depth are the weapon's actions? For example, is there a separate control for cocking a hammer on a revolver or repeating a lever action? Will weapons ever jam and require stripping for maintenance? So the response is, weapon customization is quite detailed. Some weapons have more room for changes than others, of course, but things like stocks, grips, sights, and even paint finishes can be customized. Weapon actions are one of those things that don't work well in the video games, mostly because no matter what you have in the game, you're still firing with a mouse, and it will feel counterintuitive, making it overcomplicated. For example, if you have a double action pistol and pull the lever, your mouse click is all the same no matter if the hammer is back or forward. So we'll need to design around what people are using to play. Weapon jams are something you can encounter. Our weapons physics are incredibly advanced and was one of the first systems completed long ago. We can create magazines of any size which hold physically accurate ammo, caliber, and even hollow point, FMJ, etc. Have an effect on trajectory. Our programmer on the weapon physics reads a lot of papers to get proper formulas, and they function off the same math used in real-world forensics. A bullet fired in Identity will travel almost identically to the same being fired in the real world, even when it comes down to things like stopping power versus penetration. Wow, that is amazing. The next question that we have here, will there be physics to shoot through walls or boxes, things that a bullet would usually go through in real-world situations? Silent responds back by saying, absolutely. Bullets are influenced by the material they hit. If it's wood, it will pass right through it with very little change to velocity. But if it's a thin sheet of metal, it may still allow the bullet to pass through, yet reduce velocity enough that it might not kill or do much damage to its target on the other side when it impacts. And we got 4 questions from somebody here. What is in-game prison like? The second question, is it like real prison with guards, rec time, shivving, and keeping a tight grip on the soap? I love these questions and these responses here. 3, how does the drug manufacturing and trafficking work? And 4, can I get methylamine? Asylum responds back by saying, Identity's prison is very much a game within a game. As a prisoner, you can join one of the 3 prison factions and battle for territory. Wow. Or just hang out in the recreational room and chat and interact with other prisoners while you wait out your time. You'll be able to craft a crude shank and attack others, or attempt a prison escape as a group that the police will be forced to respond to from across the map. There are no player prison guards though. The decision for that was mostly just because we couldn't find a way to keep it engaging and fun. We don't want people to be forced to sit and watch other players. For those in prison, however, when they've served their time, they may simply exit the prison through a series of corridors that only they can access, or if they just have a lengthy prison sentence, they can request a trial, which will notify random players across the map to report to jury duty, in which case they will plead their case and have their fate decided on by a vote whether they can be released early or spend the rest of their time behind bars. That's kind of cool. And in the outside world, there are a number of drug manufacturing processes, including the production of meth, heroin, cocaine, and marijuana. Each has its own unique crafting process. For instance, in order to cook meth, which is the highest paying and most valuable drug in Identity, it will require the player to purchase a mobile RV. Nice. Convert it into a meth lab and steal all the ingredients from across the map in certain factory locations. They'll then have to spend time cooking the meth through a series of time-based processes that determine the quality of the product before they finally selling it to an NPC drug dealer for a big payout. Or you can consume it if you feel like cutting into your own hard-earned profits. A little bit of Breaking Bad there. That's pretty awesome. The next question here is, will you have controller support added? We do. I've done a little play testing using an Xbox One controller myself. Then he says, any support of the Steam controller as well? That's a good question, he responds. We have a couple of Steam controllers, but we haven't done anything with them yet. Personally, after I bought one, I wasn't as comfortable with it as a regular Xbox controller, but since we have them, we should probably make sure they're ready to go for those that do like them. Well, that's a good answer. I'm not sure. Any of you guys out there bought that? I haven't bought the Steam controller. I'm wondering if it's really worth it. Will you be investing in any form of advertisement for the game? An example, internet or video advertisements. Currently, he responds, our budget isn't big enough for a big media campaign, so we try to spend as much of our resources on development as possible, since we think that is what our fans and backers would like us to do with their money. But we also recognize that we've had some pretty poor PR and marketing, so we've been making any effort to improve communication with our community. Still, it's been a challenge because we are a small team, yet there is still so much more that we owe our community. That's a good response. What level of control and customization can we expect from private servers? What will be the process of obtaining a private server? The Asylum responds back by saying private servers are rented from Identity approved partner. There will be servers on every continent of the world. We cannot release the binaries to the public as a server like Identity is quite complex behind the scenes. It's not a simple dedicated server like most games. You'll have a lot of control, enough to change the game experience considerably. Career whistling, rank control, loot drops, and damage systems, the list goes on. We want the community servers to be where Identity shines. A lot of people will play in unofficial servers because they're official, but nothing beats a dedicated community putting their love into their own world. Next question is, what do you think is the most challenging subject in your game? And they say, from a design perspective, having simple and elegant systems to control bad player behavior was one of the biggest challenges, I think, but we nailed it. For the player, I would imagine it would be any high-end crimes. Crime is profitable, but also difficult and risky if you fail. You're going to lose very expensive things. The cops confiscate them. Also, if you're robbing a bank, for example, the police will likely be responding with SWAT, which isn't going to be easy to handle. And on down we have, I recently had a thread on the topic itself. Anyway, private security in the game. Will that be a thing to protect private properties and people that can afford so? Thanks. Looking forward to this game. And Asylum responds back by saying security isn't one of the designated careers, but Identity is made to be open-ended. We want players to have the tools to do what they want, even if it's not something we coded for, and security would be a good example of this. People will want protection, no doubt. Some of this will be falling on the police force automatically too. So what he's saying there, and I like this. I like this. This is really cool. So what he's saying there is it's not a career coded into the game to be like a bodyguard or to be a security guard for somebody who's got a lot of money, but you can do it in the game because someone who does have a lot of money can pay you a good deal of money to sit outside his house in a car and make sure that nobody does anything wrong, or escort. Maybe you want to go do a money exchange with somebody, and you could pay a bunch of guys to walk with you, and you can do the money exchange and you're protected. So those bodyguard services, those security services, they're not part of the game, but you as players can make them part of the game. And that's one of the things that I loved about Grand Theft Auto 4 Online, is that there were aspects of the game that didn't really exist in the game, but we as players online, created those things, and that's really cool. I'm really, as I'm reading into this a lot here, I am liking this game even more than I did so before, and that's hard to do because I really like this game. Can you open the kitchen cabinets or use kitchen tools, and can you cook? Asylum responds back by saying, while kitchen cabinets don't swing open physically, they can be used as specialized storage, only holding certain types of inventory items. We may still animate the cabinet doors in some way though, even if just a crack open to show that they are being accessed for the sake of immersion. Certain appliances in the kitchen are usable or even required for cooking, but most countertop objects are simply meant to be aesthetic decorations. And then the original poster says, so there is usage in a kitchen, right? Can you be chef in this game? Asylum responds back by saying, there isn't a specific chef career in Identity, but you can craft recipes, cook food, and sell it to other players. Food has a significant purpose in the game, and all players will have to maintain their hunger level or suffer illness, possibly stamina fatigue or death. So we have hunger levels in Identity. Okay, that's good. The next question is, you said you were going to have a contract system in the game, and the example you cited was for delivery of items. My question is, will this system be expanded to include other transactions such as loans or even something advanced like buying a car on a lien? Asylum responds back saying, this is something we've thought about and will consider further, but at this point we're not going to allow loans, only because there are so very many exploitable loopholes. Oh yeah. All right, next up, this next guy has got a crap ton of questions here. And he starts off by, his first question is price when the game releases. That's his first question. Will the game be realistic? Will the game be realistic? Will the game have realistic payments for jobs on official servers? I really hate it when you deliver a huge truck full of diamonds, and get 10,000 for it. It just breaks the immersion. Number 3, will the items take physical space inside of a car, not only for furniture, but with job items as well, weed, diamonds, etc. And will you be able to put more stuff in the car if, let's say you have a 4-man vehicle, but it's only you and a friend inside, and you have 2 seats left, which means extra space. Number 4, will the things you buy have realistic prices? For example, if you buy a Ferrari, it will cost you something like $150,000. Will there be real-life cars in the game, or unlicensed cars like in GTA 5? Will there be any AI cops or enemies? Will I be able to raid other players' houses? Will there be a report system so you can instant report someone if the RDMs or VDMs you? Will there be an in-game recorder so you can have proof for RDM, something like plays.tv, let's say? Will there be a casino? Any microtransactions not for cosmetic items? Can you compare the driving to another game so we kind of know how driving will be like? I hope not like Arma. Will you be able to shoot while inside of a vehicle? Will there be rebel items like armored, extra armor, and guns, vehicles, helicopters, jets? Well, so he's had quite a bit of questions here. Let's see how well Asylum does on this one. Okay, to the number 1. Currently, you can pre-order or pledge early for Identity as low as $15 without beta access, or $30 with beta access. From our website at identity blah 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 at identityrpg.com. However, we expect the price of the game to jump up to $45 when it hits Steam, as Steam takes a pretty large chunk of income from each side. Number 2, expect Identity's currency to be realistic in value, so your pay will also be realistic. A pair of shoes might cost about $40 and a decent car around $30,000. A lot of games reward players with such high numbers in currency and damage, though, because there seems to be a psychological attraction to larger numbers, so we can understand why games do it, but it won't be done that way in Identity. Number 3, items will take up physical space inside the trunk of a car. When a player accesses the trunk, there is a 2D grid placement system in which each item takes up a number of squares on the grid depending on its shape and size. The largest items will not fit inside the trunk or a small car, so a big semi-truck with a trailer may be necessary. Number 4, oops, I answered this with number 2 as well. I can't remember what his number 4 question was. Number 5, there won't be real-world cars or brands in Identity. We can't afford the license fees to include real brands in our game, and we're almost certain these companies would not want their brands associated with vehicle damage or some of the criminal and illegal elements also featured in the game. Number 6, there won't be AI cops out in the game environment, driving police vehicles or patrolling the streets. If there are any, they will simply stand behind a desk at a station, recruiting new player officers or providing information. Number 7, you will not be able to raid another player's house or enter their house without their permission. We want player homes to be your personal space, safe from any outside influence. Players are going to put a lot of effort customizing their homes, and we don't want to jeopardize or disturb the work that they put into it. Number 8, RDM and VDM isn't an enforced rule on official servers, but there will be a tool for reporting those actions on private servers who create rules for those actions. Instead, on official servers, we have a stress system in place to discourage random attacks or griefing. Number 9, there won't be an in-game video recording tool, but you can use third-party video recording software like OBS, Fraps, or Shadowplay. Number 10, there will be casinos in Identity, but they are not player-owned. Number 11, microtransactions exist for cosmetic, some vehicles, and some apartments, and will be claimable across all servers, hopefully including private servers. We will not sell weapons. Damn, that's pretty good. Number 12, expect driving and Identity to be realistic, much like Grand Theft Auto 4. Are you serious? The reason why I'm excited over that is a lot of my subscribers know that I love the driving Grand Theft Auto 4, and I've rarely found anybody that agrees with me. No one agrees with me. I'm alone in that a little bit. Not 5, he says. Oh, that is amazing. Okay, whatever. Players won't be able to survive crazy stunt jumps. Players won't be able to survive crazy stunt jumps in Identity, and enough damage could disable your vehicle. Unfortunately, however, we cannot easily do damage model like you might expect to see in Beam NG. Damage has to be networked across the server, and we feel transmitting that much damage data could hurt performance. Number 13, you won't be able to shoot from inside your vehicle. We want to discourage random acts of violence for the sake of roleplay. So you won't be able to shoot from inside your vehicle. Wow, that's, I don't know. Number 14, there won't be any armored vehicles in Identity apart from maybe SWAT trucks. We don't want to give anyone a PvP advantage based on the vehicle armor. Aircraft are also not present in Identity, as it is important to us that players do not skip over potential encounters that they may have gotten into while driving. And of course, because we don't want the world to feel smaller by flying quickly from point A to point B. That's a bummer too. That's a bummer. I would really like some helicopters. All right, so we're almost wrapping up here, guys. How big do you estimate the full size to be when the game is complete? And what is the number at the current point in time? Also, what ideas do you have for dealing with issue of RDM outside of the safe areas? Asylum responds back by saying the landmass is expected to be about 225 kilometers squared, and that's roughly the size it is already, as first we create the terrain and then slowly populate it. This is one of those tasks that is enormous and ongoing, as we're always getting new props completed from the art guys. There are a lot of mechanics in place to handle RDM, and they're done in a manner that should feel pretty intuitive. That said, they can be disabled entirely on private servers if you trust your community. We've developed what we call the stress system, which you'll find at a medium setting on the official servers. By default, on the official servers, you're going to have a low stress. This determines how much damage you'll take from gunfire and other players in general. However, some actions or even locations can add or remove stress that we've set up in a way that discourages unwanted behavior. For example, if someone came to me and pulled a gun on me, my stress level would rise quickly. This makes me vulnerable. I could try to run, but he might shoot me in the back and it's going to hurt. Alternatively, I can put my hands up and surrender. If I surrender, my stress level drops, but I can't move and he can rob me. I had the choice to run with the risk or surrender and spare my life at the cost of my cash on hand. The above is one example on how stress system works, but it's designed to cover all sorts of situations. I don't know if I'm reading that wrong, but it sounds like you're giving the benefit to someone who's trying to grief. So the stress system sounds like it benefits the griefer. I'm not sure if that was explained properly or not, or maybe I didn't read it properly. Who knows? Okay, so we have some questions about servers. As I'm living in France, is there different official service locations planned for alpha beta release? Is there some sort of mechanism giving us the ability to switch service locations without losing stuff, character, or do you bind a user persona to a server? Regarding renting servers, will we be able to select the location? Do you intend to use famous cloud providers, Google, Amazon, or gaming specialized providers, or custom solution? Is there some sort of internationalization planned? There's a great RP community in France. Simon says, we will have official servers in Europe, and I'm expecting several community servers hosted directly inside France. As it stands right now, servers fall into two categories, private and Hive. A Hive server is like the official server, share character data, but not vehicles, houses, and other local things. There's a timer preventing you from moving quickly, 15 minutes between the Hive servers. Then there's private servers, which are their own instance in every right. You can choose a location of private servers, and France will be an option for you. You'll rent servers through partnered game hosting services. The identity client will be localized for most major languages, although Town Square may be only English to start. All right, then we have 4 questions next from another user. So if I'm playing with a friend and I invite them to my house apartment, will they be able to customize it with me, like put stuff down, but with things out of their inventory? And are there beach houses? Number 3, any DLC for the game? Number 4, will there be an annual purge? That would be cool, like a notification alarming players it's going to start. So stop what you're doing, then teleport everyone to the biggest city, and then battle for about a half an hour to an hour. Then after it's done, then everyone gets returned to where they were previously. What? What the heck? Number 1, they can do this if the answer to his first question. They can do this if given them access to do it. There are several access levels in your home, so that if you can have your friends help you out, or even hire an interior decorator, hire someone that can decorate your house for you. There can only be as many co-owners as there are bedrooms in the home, though. Number 2, of course, Turtle Beach is a notable town right on the water. Even Roseport has waterfront, but it's not as beachy. Number 3, we have no plans for traditional DLC. Identity will be extended for all players, and that's good too. Number 4, not on official servers. It's funny how often this has been asked, though. He's referring to the purge question. It does sound like a really good idea. Then we have, how will themes work for renting out the concert hall? I'm particularly interested in the classical theme and how many of orchestra instruments will be in the game. Thank you. Asylum answers back by saying, this is a feature we've had a lot of fun planning. We're really interested in the potential that exists here for talented players to get their names out into the community, even beyond identity. It would be incredible if a video posted to YouTube of someone singing on a stage in Identity managed to jumpstart their professional singing career in real life. I hope they invite us to their first performance. The way concert halls work in Identity is the player will be required to visit a fixed location on the map, the concert hall. There is a default theme pre-installed, so they can explore the hall before talking to an NPC for rental options. The NPC will ask them what theme they would like to choose and whether the hall will be for private entertainment or for the open to the public. There are a few different instruments for players to play within Identity, but using them effectively with a mouse and keyboard is likely to pose a challenge. It may still be better off to provide background music using virtual audio cable, especially since a lot of music has license fees we'd likely not be able to afford. Can you imagine hosting live Cobra TV shows from one of these concert halls? That'd be awesome. That's definitely in the future. It's definitely in the future of Cobra TV. All right, we're almost wrapping up here. I would like to know what plans you have for the vehicles in your game. Will there be a large variety of cars available to the players? If so, what type of cars can we expect to see? More pedestrian, everyday cars, or will it be mostly expensive performance and expensive vehicles? They respond back by saying, we'd love to have huge variety in vehicles and we'll constantly be adding more even after the release. Vehicles take a lot of work for the team, though, as we have very high fidelity, which you don't see in other games. For example, you can wear your seatbelt, use your turn signals, windshield wipers, lower your side windows, and so on. You're going to see, for the most part, pedestrian vehicles. Identity is about immersion. While exotic cars will exist, they're going to be extremely rare, as they're extremely expensive. This is one of the things we hated to see in games like Grand Theft Auto. When everyone was driving an exotic Italian supercar, yours doesn't feel all too special. And there's a question here that says, can I have a pupper? I think you meant puppy. Can I have a... you can, Asylum responds. Oh, it's too late for this. At first, pets will be restricted to homes, but we'll look into expanding those this post-release. Then we got 3 questions in a row here. We have, I know you talked about police, but will there be military personnel? Question number 2, will you be able to have a group of friends that can live in the same house? Question number 3, how does owning a company work? Ran out of ideas. There is no military in Identity, only police. There is SWAT, though given that there's only one nation, a military would be quite bored. You can have friends in your home. You can have as many co-owners as there are bedrooms in a house. For example, if you have a 2-bedroom house, you can have one friend using it as their home with you. You can own stores or even entire corporations. He doesn't exactly answer his question fully there and tell you how, but we will be doing a separate video on how that game mechanic actually works. Can we store our product or weapons or money inside the house? It's a safe thing. Is it a safe thing to do? Great game, by the way. Wish you all luck. They respond back by saying not only can you store your items in your home, but there are even special containers meant for certain item types, like the weapons you ask about. You could place a weapons rack on your wall, hang your favorites for all to see. I imagine a lot of less than savory people will build armories in their houses. And then the next question here is, when buying cars, will it be from a car sales shop type thing where you can see, test drive, then buy, drive home, or like in GTA? Then they respond by saying there are car dealerships. And then next question, a little odd question here. Can you use toilet or shower? He says you can, but you don't need to. Wow, this is a pretty tough show. So if you guys hung in there, you are a definite co-bro. Thank you very much. I think that's a bit. That's all the questions. There is some trailing on the thread here, and I'm gonna, like I said before, I'm going to leave the link in the description. You can go check it out. Who knows? Maybe something will be added to it by the time you get there. Identity is a ambitious game that I am super excited about. But you know, with all games, guys, games like this where there's like hardly any boundaries, you have to be careful because your minds can grow. My mind can grow on what the possibilities of this game can possibly be. such as what we did, how we felt about No Man's Sky, which, my opinion is, I think, especially after the Foundation update and survival mode, No Man's Sky is a fun game for me. And, we've gone around, round and round about this. But, it's important to keep a level head about identity. As you've seen, some of these questions were pretty outlandish questions, and most of them had good answers from the developers. Positive feedback, a yes to most of the questions. So I really feel like it's going to be a great game. But if we let our minds get away from us, our own minds, our own imagination could possibly ruin our experience for this. But it feels good to be excited about a game. It really, really does. I have no idea. I haven't looked into this in a while, but I have no idea if it's coming to PS4, Xbox. I don't think so. I think it's just a PC title. But there's been a couple of titles that have made it onto PS4 and Xbox that I didn't think were going to. Like Ark Survival Evolved, that made it onto PS4. 7 Days to Die, that made it onto PS4. Elite Dangerous went to Xbox and is coming to PS4. So I'm not sure. I wouldn't rule out, the consoles just yet. There's still time. And even if it's not even announced after this game gets released on PC, there's still an opportunity for one of these consoles to pick it up, especially with how popular this game is going to be and how it's becoming. And so there's hope there. But like I said, just keep a level head. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about Identity. Are you excited about it? I am. I can't wait to play this game. It's actually got me motivated enough to get my PC fixed. But I think it just needs a little bit of dusting out. But that's it. Okay, guys, I love you. Thank you so much for staying here for this long if you did. I will see you guys all in the next video. And stay awesome, everybody. Until next time.